Once a month, I'm going to do a cover. And for the past little while, I've had Wicked Game by Chris Isaak going around in my head, so I'm going to give that a crack. And if it doesn't pan out, then you won't be seeing this in the edit. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. So this is the Drum Brute Impact. It's another one of my drum machines. So this is the Drum Brute Impact. It's another one of my drum machines. This one is all analog. So all of the sounds, no digital synthesis. It's all coming from actual analog circuitry in the device, which feels, for some reason, appropriate in this song. I'm not sure why. This is the problem with hardware, is your life very quickly just becomes entirely fucking cables. Cable wasn't plugged in properly. Running it at tempo gave it a completely different feel to what I was expecting, and I may end up leaving it as is. We'll see. I'll put this to the side for now and see where we end up. Korg Monologue. The only properly analog synth that I have. Look, when you turn it on, it has to tune itself. It's analog shit. Oh, so cool. I really gotta get a table. That thing's been sitting in the background of 4 videos now. If I could play guitar, the guitar solo would be here, so throwing in some bends and kind of trying to make it sound a little guitar-y. It's not like with recording things on the MIDI keyboard where I can go in and fix it later. I really didn't record very much of this process at all. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of go through the mostly finished track and do a bit of a kind of retroactive breakdown of basically all of the different elements. The main one of which is the vocals, and I think that's why I didn't record a lot of this process, is because I was a little, I think, self-conscious about my voice and the process of kind of trying to work this song out. Not really sure how it was going to turn out. I could go back and fake it and pretend that I'm discovering these things for the first time, but I like to capture those moments of discovery, and if I don't, then I still want to kind of show what I've done. So the original voice had this phaser effect, kind of sounding like this, that you saw me recording. I eventually got the confidence to get rid of that and switch to more of just an actual slightly processed but natural sounding voice. And then I've also got this nice delay effect that I think helps a lot. Like this. Kind of came into this track with the philosophy of, first of all, it's the first time that I'm actually properly recording my voice. And second of all, that I wanted to use these analog synthesizers for the drums and the solo, which means a lot less margin for error and having to get things right the first time. And I had this philosophy where I wanted it to be analog, and then I'll show you with the stuff I recorded off the drum root that I ended up just massively kind of digitally processing it anyway. So raw is this. And then the first thing I did was introduce some reverb. After the reverb, the first thing that I did was end up throwing on basically the phaser that I was originally using on my voice. So I could have recorded the bass drum and the hi-hat and the snares all separately, but I forgot to do that. So I'm just dealing with one track with basically all of the components. What I added is basically a whole bunch of stereo width to really spread out the sound. Then took the bass drum part below a certain frequency and made that back mono again. So you end up with the bass in the center and the other parts kind of out to the sides. So you can see that I could have just taken the hi-hats, the snare and the kick separately if I remembered to do that. And in terms of how I get some of the kind of variation in the drum pattern that you hear in the actual track, the first thing is basically just a beat repeat function over here. And the second is a basically randomness function. I think that's all of the critical elements, so I'll play the track in full now and hopefully you like it.
World was on fire and no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire will make foolish people do. And I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. And I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. With you.
Track 4 done. It's kind of nice to not have to think of a name this time. See you next week.